So you're looking for a new MMO, but afraid your days of sinking hundreds of hours into a single game are behind you. Well then, you've come to the right place. Hey there friends, it's Codiak here, welcome to Legacy Gaming. Today we're diving into Lost Ark to see if it's actually a casual-friendly MMO. First, before we do anything, let's try and define what it means to play an MMO casually. This is going to vary from person to person, but in my mind, it means you can commit on average an hour or two to a game every day. Are you going to miss a day? Sure, but you're still playing it and enjoying the content. Again, that definition is going to vary from person to person, but for the purpose of this video, that's what we're going to focus on. As we've talked about in nearly every Lost Ark video we've released, the game is expansive, with more systems than nearly every other MMO out there. Does that mean every system is super engaging or requires hundreds of hours of your time? Absolutely not, and that's where I want to start. At the most basic level, Lost Ark can be broken apart into three distinct pieces: leveling, endgame horizontal, and endgame vertical. Not great names, I'll admit, but it makes the most sense. As everyone knows, leveling is the process of taking a character from level 1 to whatever the cap may be, in this case, when the game launches in the NAEU, level 50. If you've come from any other MMO, World of Warcraft, New World, whatever, you know that leveling can be an absolute slog that takes dozens, if not hundreds of hours to reach max level. Is that the case in Lost Ark? No, absolutely not. The Lost Ark leveling process takes anywhere from 20 to 25 hours for one character. That's going to fluctuate, but let's call that the average. Part of the reason for the short time investment is how efficient the leveling process is. Not once, not a single time will you ever be frustrated with the flow of the leveling, and this is truly the most important part about the process. You know what I'm talking about, running across continents just to complete a fetch quest or chasing down some obscure item 3 zones away. None of that happens in Lost Ark. Even still, one of the more recent changes to the game allows players to do only the main quest and reach level cap. This ensures that a player can get through all of the story content and reach the endgame at the exact moment they're supposed to. No weird level gaps, no dungeon crawling to grind out an extra level or two. Everything is tailored perfectly to help you get from 1 to 50. So long story short, the leveling in the game is very much casual friendly. I do want to be honest though, it's not the most engaging experience I've ever had. It's a lot of go here, kill these things, come back and talk to an NPC who then sends you to the next little hub. The story isn't great, and since the writing is translated, there are some weird hitches in the storytelling, but the actual leveling process of getting from 1 to 50 itself is solid and very accessible to casual players. Once you reach the endgame, you have two real paths. You can spend time working on horizontal content, that is, content that doesn't really impact your endgame progression and has a low bar to entry, or vertical content, activities designed to help you progress and access the most challenging content within the game. I think it's best we start with horizontal content since it's specifically designed with casual players in mind. This comes in a variety of forms, such as collectibles like Makoko seeds, island tokens, and giant hearts. Each token can be turned into a specific vendor which rewards you based on the number of tokens you turn in. Some of these things are important, like additional skill points, but the vast majority of these items enhance a specific part of your gameplay experience outside of the endgame progression. On top of that, most collectible systems are account-wide, which further solidifies them as being casual-friendly. You could also consider things like Rapport, the relationship system in the game, horizontal content. It's a system with a low bar to entry that can be done on the player's own time without much of a challenge. Again, the rewards are decent and definitely worth hunting down and completely accessible by casual players. The Stronghold system is another good example of casual-friendly content. This is Lost Ark's base building system that combines a number of casual and hardcore systems together. On the casual side of things, you have your own little island that you can decorate however you want with no real effect on your gameplay. That's about as casual-friendly as it gets, but that's not the full extent of what Strongholds bring to the table. One of the most casual-friendly features of the Stronghold is the ability to send out ships on missions. Normal missions reward you with some basic resources, but special missions mirror activities a player would do for progression, like a Guardian raid. Sending out a ship on a special mission is an automated process and doesn't require you to actually do the activity, and rewards you with some of the rewards you would have gotten if you did the activity. Name a more casual-friendly system than that, seriously. When you boil it all down, this isn't the most effective way to farm because you're only getting a fraction of the resources, but because you simply have the option to log in, send out a crew, and then log off, means you can still progress even while you're not progressing. For all the 9-to-5ers out there with a couple kids to take care of, this is going to be a godsend. You're still moving forward while not having to spend hours actually doing the tasks. Strongholds have a number of other functions as well, but the last one I really want to highlight is actually a feature currently in the Korean and Russian versions of the game, but won't release here in the West at launch: the training room. This acts much like the Pokemon daycare system, where you drop off a character, let them chill out for an extended period of time, passively gaining XP. After a certain point, you can pop them out and they'll have leveled up. If spending that 25 hours to level a second, third, or fourth character isn't in the cards, and you don't want to pay real money for the Power Pass, well, here's another option. Again, this won't be available in the West at launch, and while I can't find any confirmation that it's definitely coming, it's a system I can't imagine they'd leave off the table. That's only a taste of the horizontal content in the game, and there's far more that we could get into, but I think I made my point pretty clear. There's plenty to do, and it's only going to get better. During this year's Lost Ark conference, Loa on Winter, the game's director revealed big plans for additional horizontal content within the game this year. This includes a completely revamped and reimagined stronghold system with an emphasis on cosmetics and social experiences. He also teased the introduction of Mario Party-style minigames, including a tower defense mode, races, and even a MOBA. What's more important is the developer's philosophy that hardcore players shouldn't dictate the pace of new content. While that may not be something progression players want to hear, it should be a huge sigh of relief for more casual players. He even went as far to say that the pace of progression content will slow down drastically in the future in favor of more horizontal content, and honestly, I'm all for that. I love pushing progression content, living on the cutting edge. It's something I live for during my WoW days, but realize that the vast majority of players don't have that same goal, and providing content for everyone ultimately makes the game and the community stronger, something vitally important for the health of an MMO. I realize there might be some casuals out there that still want to engage in progression content, but don't want to commit 50 hours a week. Once again, Lost Ark proves it's just built different and respects your time as a player, even pushing the cutting edge. There are a few things here that really cement my faith in Smilegate as a developer that knows how to approach progression content for all types of players while not sacrificing the quality. First is the fact that all leveling dungeons can be completed solo. I know that's not technically vertical content, but it's an important part of feeling like you're living in a fantasy world, taking on bosses during that process. Is it more fun to do with other people? Absolutely, but sometimes it's not possible to matchmake with others if there's no one around, so having that option is fantastic. Second is the sheer scope of the introductory endgame content, primarily Chaos Dungeons and Guardian Raids. Both activities are building blocks to getting resources and gear that help push your PvE progression. Better still is that both activities have a daily cap, which means the player that only has 2 hours to spare and the player with 10 hours to spare is on more equal footing than if there was no cap at all. That's not to say they're on even ground, but it's a better balance. Also keep in mind those special missions from the Stronghold I mentioned earlier. Those all feed into vertical content systems, which means passive PvE progression. Also consider things like Una's tasks, which are daily and weekly quests. Guess what? There's a cap on those too, and while there are some implementations in the Korean and Russian versions of the game that allow you to purchase additional passes with real money that allow you to do more of these activities in a single day, my guess is this is one of the changes being made for the Western release, stripping this instance of pay for convenience completely out. Nearly every piece of vertical content you do in the game will have some sort of cap, and this encourages, but does not require, and I want to stress this, encourages you to do other things, whether it be level up in all or engage in horizontal content. Honestly, it's brilliant design that respects all players on the spectrum. Is it exactly even? No, absolutely not, and many cutting-edge players will tell you that the best way to speed up the process is to level up alts and use their daily caps to gather resources and feed them to your main, but that's by no means a requirement for a large portion of the player base. I think it's safe to stop here and wrap up this video because, as always, our goal with each and every video we produce on the channel is to get to the point. To answer the question we posed at the beginning of this video, yes, Lost Ark is incredibly casual-friendly. But be warned, it's addicting, and the sheer amount of content may trigger a repressed compulsion to play the game for countless hours on end. I know during my time with the beta, I put some miles on my Steam account, and I have no doubt that's going to be the case come launch on February 11th. I want to end by quickly talking to the more hardcore audience out there who might have clicked on this video to get a sense of which way the winds are blowing. Know that Lost Ark plays both sides of the field. In fact, the endgame rating is by far some of the most complicated I've ever seen in a video game. And if you need confirmation of that, go check out Saintone's videos on the topic. It'll blow your mind. Regardless of if you're a casual or hardcore fan, I want to welcome you all to join the Legacy Gaming Guild on day one. Our Discord has skyrocketed in the last few days. We've already got 200 plus members ready and raring to go on day one. And you can check out that link in the description to join up and learn more. If you've been following along with our Lost Ark coverage, then you already know we've got a whole lineup of content ready to go, so be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to support the channel and help other people find our content. Finally, if you guys like everything we're doing here at Legacy Gaming and you want to support us even more, you can do so by becoming a member. For just a couple bucks, you're helping Livid and I achieve our dreams of making YouTube a full-time passion. Check out the join button below to learn more. My name is Codiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching and play on.